Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman, McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Watch Dr. TV on over-the-air channel 13.9.
Hi, I'm John Mallos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Thursday morning. Today, we're going to talk about the subvets, not only the World War II submarine veterans, but those who served in all the wars and actually served in those submarines and those who lost their lives. 436-ME-TV, option 11. You're watching Connect with Me on Me TV Fresno. Back in a moment. And we're back here on the program live, of course, showroom floor at Ventura TV on this Thursday morning. You're watching us, of course, from the showroom floor, as always. Now, I got to mention about a program note tomorrow. Tomorrow is the 14th anniversary of 9/11. Of course, the attacks in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Pennsylvania, where the plane went down in Shanksville. And we're going to have a special program tomorrow with Dan Payne, our terrorism expert. We'll talk about drones and some of the dangers of drones and what his thoughts are on that. And also in Arizona, I don't know if you saw that in the news just recently here in the last day or so, you've got some sniper attacks. Is that domestic terrorism or what is it? We'll talk to Dan Payne about that as well. So that's on tomorrow's program, the 14th anniversary of 9/11. Hard to believe that 14 years has already gone by, and there is a new World Trade Center tower standing bright and standing tall in, of course, the southern tip of Manhattan. Well, you're watching us live each and every Monday through Friday on Comcast Channel 375, and that's on Comcast Cable. However, if you have a regular antenna at your house, over-the-air broadcast, 43.6, 13.1, 8.1 on your dial, then the replay, as always, comes later at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 13.6 on YouTube, 8 o'clock at night on primetime, 4.6 Biz TV. Twitter account has not changed. It's at John Mallos, Me TV. And so today we start with a very heartwarming story, and a story about a local man who was featured on ABC's World News with David Muir last night. It was a long feature piece. I got to show you this. Let's roll the videotape and show you exactly what I'm talking about this morning. Fresno Fire Captain Pete Dern, considered a hero to many, finally went home after spending 6 months recovering from his burns at Community Regional Medical Center. He actually walked between a line of firefighters on his way out. Before he did, he thanked God for giving him a second chance in life. Boy, you might recall Dern fell through a garage roof during a house fire. On March the 29th, he suffered second and third degree burns over 70% of his body. Luckily, the crew that he was working with on that day rescued him. Dern still wearing those bandages and white gauze all around his body, including his head, as you can see here, his legs, his arms. It's going to be a long recovery for Pete Dern, even though he was released from the hospital yesterday. A hero's welcome as he walked out. This is an amazing story about survival and recovery. Pete Dern, home this morning with his family. Congratulations to him. Boy, we certainly wish him Godspeed. Okay, yesterday on this program, we spoke about World War II veterans who had taken part in Honor Flight. You know what Honor Flight is? It's the nonprofit group that flies those World War II veterans to Washington, D.C. free of charge. What do they do there? They view and look at and kind of soak in the World War II Memorial firsthand. It's a one-time flight, and the next flight will take place on October the 19th. They fly out of Atwater Castle Air Base. I want to roll the videotape, my friends, and show you how that relates to today. Well, today we continue along the same line as we discuss an organization that carries with it little fanfare. Yes, the United States Submarine Veterans Group, or SubVets as they are called, a group that's been around 60 years, created by Bud Trimble on July 4th, 1955, for the sole purpose that shipmates killed in action on subs like this one will never, ever be forgotten. Now, you are looking at the USS Pampanito, retired more than 40 years ago and now sits along Fisherman's Wharf in San Francisco. What a beautiful shot that is right there. Open daily for tours, 100,000 visitors a year. It's a national historic landmark. In fact, our executive producer actually spent the night on the Pampanito with his son on a camping trip. That's right. The Pampanito was built in Portsmouth Navy Yard in Kittery, Maine, March 1943, in record time, just 3 months. And in 6 patrols during World War II, it sank 6 ships, including a huge freighter, damaged 4 other ships. She went to Pearl Harbor in late 1943, was considered the elite sub for the U.S. Navy. Now, check this out. During the war, the United States had built some 270 submarines. By war's end, 52 of those had been destroyed. Check this plaque out now. This commemorates those lost at sea during battle. Again, that's the reason the SubVets organization was actually created. What a fabulous plaque that is. It names each and every sub by name. That's right, all 52 that have been lost at sea. Live in our studio right now is Bob Hauk. He is a submarine veteran here to talk about the SubVets group that was formed back in 1955 by Bud Trimble, July 4th, no less. 436-MeTV option 11. Our World War II theme or military theme, whatever you want to call it, continues here on the program today. Back in just a moment.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
The Justice Network is here. If you haven't tuned in, you're missing a great lineup of gripping stories of real crime, plus an unprecedented effort by viewers like you to play an active role in making your community safer. You can help support law enforcement by providing information that may lead to the apprehension of dangerous criminals or find a missing child. Great shows and your chance to fight crime, only on the Justice Network.
All right, back here on the program, of course, I was amiss not to mention that today's program is sponsored by McGill Guzman McGill. That would be Chuck McGill for you and me. He's a defense attorney, and he's been around for better part of 25 years serving the better part of the Central Valley. Bob Hauk is here. He is a sub-vet himself. How long were you a veteran, my friend?
I served for 3 years on the boats.
Really? Where and for who? And obviously the U.S., but
right.
I mean,
some would
dumb
question that.
right?
Yeah, some would question
Who'd you serve
that.
for? Well,
Yeah.
let's see, Vietnam.
Yes, I was in during the start of the Vietnam era. I served on board a diesel electric submarine and USS Gudgeon SS-567. I qualified on that boat in December of 1964. Diesel electric fast attack, actually built on a hull design that we got from the Germans at the end of World War II.
And you were on the sub for 3 years?
Yes.
Wow. What was that experience like, by the way?
Nothing anybody wants to do if they got any claustrophobic tendencies at all. It is very tight quarters. There was probably only 3 or 4 places in the whole boat I could stand up straight. And
so you had to duck the whole time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty
I
much.
walked pretty much to stoop
Yeah.
all the time. It was worse for our executive officer, Lieutenant Commander Blanchard, who was like 4 inches taller than I am. And
So if you stand more than 6 feet tall, is it a problem for you on a sub?
on the old subs, yeah.
The old subs, huh?
I'm not sure. You'll have to ask Donald Johnson. My shipmate's in here now. He served on the nuclears, but on the old diesel electrics, it was a problem. The
Yeah.
bunk that I had in the stern room, after torpedo room, as they would call it on the old boats, was 6 foot. I was 6'1", so I was an inch taller than my bunk. And in order to, I couldn't lay on my side. I either had to sleep on my back or on my stomach. There's not room. There was only like 2 inches between my nose and the bunk above me.
Okay.
So it was actually pretty tight quarters.
How many torpedoes do they carry on board, generally speaking? Say, just take any sub, for example, the Pampanito. How many subs at any one, how many torpedoes at any one time?
Pampanito, I think, if I remember right, now I didn't qualify on the boat, it carried, I think it was either 12 or 18 torpedoes forward and 8 aft. And
So a total of?
About 24.
About 24.
Yeah.
Okay, and they had how many torpedo tubes at one time? 4, 5?
The Pampanito, that class, the Ballo class subs from World War II, had 6 tubes forward, 6 torpedoes forward. They're mounted vertically, 3 on each side in the forward torpedo room, as it's called, and there were 4 in the after torpedo room.
So you had 8 total.
8 total.
8 total that you could shoot at one time.
Right.
Yeah, pretty amazing stuff. So so describe the experience for me, if you can. If you're on a sub, how far down do you go, and what's the feeling like?
How far down you go depends on the class of boat. Our boat's test depth was
On average.
was 712 feet. The new nukes they don't disclose how deep they go, but I know it's well over 1,000. And the pressure down there is just huge. And for a nuke at 1,000 feet, as the thresher found out, if they get a hole in the hull, a compartment fills in less than a minute with seawater, even a small hole.
Yeah.
And so as you go down, the hull will start to creak because it actually compresses as you go down.
Can you feel the pressure on your head, on your body?
No.
You
The
can't.
boats, we had a small, sometimes there'd be what they call small pressure in the boat, but not
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Caller, hey, you there? Go ahead.
Yeah, a direct question to Rob. I'd like to know what's the deepest a submarine back in the, let's say Vietnam era, can go. And when you fuel, how often did you have to go and fuel up, or like you say, you went 2 years at a time underwater? I believe that's what you said. I might have misinterpreted, but those questions I always wondered, and I know they're cramped. Back in those days, did they have women sailors in the submarines, or was it not women weren't used in those days? That's really what I want to know.
Okay. Go ahead.
First of all, there was no women on subs when I was there. And there are only women officers currently, and I think it's 2016, the first enlisted women are due to report. Our time on station could be, because of our design, could be 90 days or 90 days port to port. You could be out. And the test depth, again, depths depended upon the class of submarine. Some classes go deeper than others. Ours was, like I say, 712 feet, which is shallow by today's standards, probably less than half. But new designs in steel and thickness of hulls and things have enabled them to go a lot deeper.
Now, at any one time, how long did you stay underwater in a sub for the longest period of time, consistently, without coming back up?
Well,
10 days, 2 weeks?
Okay, it depends. I hate to sound like
6
President
months?
Clinton.
I mean,
it depends upon what you call down. We, being diesel electric, we had to snorkel every night to recharge our batteries. So we would come up to a depth where they could raise the snorkel mast and take air in to run the diesels. That times the diesel exhaust would be recycled through the boat. A lot of times the diesel exhaust could be like a London fog inside because there was so much no carbon monoxide in diesel exhaust, so allegedly it was safe. They now know that there are like 17 different carcinogens in the diesel exhaust. But we had to snorkel every night at least. I think the longest I was ever down was a little more than 24 hours without the battery charge, and by that time The air was so bad you couldn't light a match.
Wow, amazing. Hey, I want to roll a piece of videotape from the Pampanito, Pampanito number 2. We got some inside shots that we want to show our audience at home, of course. And, you know, for those who've never been on a sub, this is what it looks like inside the Pampanito, of course. Fought during World War II, sank a few ships of its own during its time, and certainly a historic landmark that sits over there at Fisherman's Wharf right now. This, you know, you kind of get a bird's eye view of what's going on here a little bit, but you don't really get the feel for being in a sub, just even looking at this video, right?
No. No, you have to actually be there. I saw a shot of the control room.
Yeah.
And the control room is really small. You get 2 people in there, and there's not really room for a third or fourth. It's very difficult in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're showing a shot of the bathrooms, and this is the shot right
the
now.
Bunk beds.
They all have bunk beds. That's after battery. They called it Hogan's Alley, and on the World War II class boats, that's where most of the enlisted men slept. That was the majority of them. They also had bunks in the forward torpedo room, as they saw there.
What's this here? What are we looking at in there?
This is the galley.
Okay.
All the meals for 76 men were prepared in that little space.
Wow.
Officers and enlisted men ate the same food. Food was always very good on the boats. We, in fact, cold cuts or sandwiches were a rarity. You didn't get them that often. You got a lot of steak, a lot of fish, chicken, a lot of really good cuts of meat.
Mm-hmm.
If you went out to sea at the end of about the 6th or 7th day, there was no more fresh milk. Fresh vegetables were all gone. Everything was canned or dehydrated.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The Pampanito now, built in 1943, record time, 3 months.
Yeah.
That's an all-time record. How'd they do that, do you think?
They developed it down to Henry Ford's assembly line method, and they were really cranking them out in World War II. They had a hard time getting crews and stuff for a lot of these boats. Sometimes they went out short-handed. One of our former members, who since passed now, was World War II member, Ray Guy, was a radioman, and every time they came in, another boat going out would need a radioman who was in short supply, and Ray, poor guy, he would just get rotated from one boat to the next and go out over and over again. I have no idea how many war patrols he did. One of our veterans did 6.5. He was, I guess, on one of the boats when the war ended, hence the half a patrol.
Right, right. Okay, we're talking with Bob Houck here. He's a submarine veteran, talking about the Sub Vets Group. It's an association, a group that was formed back on July 4th, 1955. That's 60 years ago. And so it's been around. We'll come back. We'll talk to Bob about why that group was formed, what the mission is, what the purpose is, and we'll also talk a little bit more about these submarines that are just fantastic machines that help fight the war. Of course, in Vietnam, during World War II, and all the wars. Amazing 52 submarines lost during World War II. All right, back here in a moment after this word from McGill, Guzman, McGill. That's our sponsor today here on Connect with Me.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill, Guzman, McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
The Justice Network is here. If you haven't tuned in, you're missing a great lineup of gripping stories of real crime, plus an unprecedented effort by viewers like you to play an active role in making your community safer. You can help support law enforcement by providing information that may lead to the apprehension of dangerous criminals or find a missing child. Great shows and your chance to fight crime, only on the Justice Network.
It's Sully and Russ on the Big Biz Show.
It's your biz.
And maybe they'll start listening to Baldwin
Now,
McCullough.
before you make any money moves, check in with the Brain Trust.
Starting your week off right. Biz TV is now on KDHF channel 4.6.
And our thanks to the sponsor, McGill Guzman McGill, Chuck McGill, defense attorney here in the city of Fresno. Talking to Bob Houck, he is a submarine veteran. And Bob, I want to take you back into the Pampanito. Let's run photo gallery number 1 video there. And it's a fantastic, absolutely gorgeous submarine. I have not been on it, have not seen it. It's stationed, of course, in San Francisco. It's a national landmark. You can go on a tour. 100,000 people go through this thing each and every year. But why was the Sub-Vets group formed in the first place? What was the sole purpose, and what is the purpose today?
Purpose today is the same as it was at the beginning of it, and that was to honor the people who are still on, we call it Eternal Patrol, the people who lost their lives during World War II. There was 52 submarines lost during World War II, almost all with all hands. As you can imagine, once you get down there, if you get major trouble there, everybody dies. It's just part of the thing of serving on subs. These guys got together and they wanted to form the group to do it. And I can tell you an interesting story. Our group was having a meeting, and the 2 guys that came to it who had been on subs during World War II.
Hang on, caller.
Had not realized that the other one that they had not seen in like 40 years was sitting right behind them at the meeting. And suddenly turned around and there was somebody they had served with.
Yeah, let's continue with this video. I want to take this video to the bitter end here while we take this phone call, looking at the inside of the Pampanito in San Francisco, a historic landmark. Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, I was wondering, how do they name the submarines? I know, like, aircraft carriers are named after presidents, but on submarines, are they named after Navy heroes, or is there any specific rule to that? Thank you.
It's kind of an interesting thing. The subs I was on were called Tang-class submarines. It was diesel electric, and they were all named after subs that had been lost in World War II, the Tang, the Gudgeon, Wahoo, and 3 others. So they had names of fish. Most of them are named of fish. The current class of submarines that are coming out are named after states, which during World War II, the battleships were named after states. Now these big new fast attacks that are coming out are named after states.
Named after states. The Pampanito was named after a fish.
Fish, yes.
Yeah.
All the World War II boats are named after fish. There's been even the
reason
nukes.
For that?
I don't know. I am ashamed to say that. I really don't know. Why Donald may know. He knows a lot more about it. He'll be on shortly. Interestingly enough, the first USS Gudgeon was lost on her 12th War Patrol up off Iwo Jima, and I had an uncle who served 2 War Patrols on the first Gudgeon, and I qualified on the second. Mm-hmm. The ships that were lost, the men owed a particularly high affection for the people they served with and the things they had to do. And it was so dangerous in World War II that if you could take your boat out as a skipper and press the attack on the Japanese and come back, you would oftentimes get awarded medals as high as the Medal of Honor.
Let's roll photo gallery number 2 from the Pampanito, stationed in San Francisco. Of course, it's been retired for a long, long time. You can go over there and check it out yourself. And don't know if you'll be able to spend the night there, but it certainly is a fabulous submarine you can kind of take a look at. And I got to tell you something. You know, they built 270 of these during World War II, and they made up about 2% of all of the Navy's ships. And actually, the submarines of the U.S. fleet sank about 55% of all Japanese imperial ships. That is a phenomenal statistic during World War II.
Yes, it is. And towards the end of the war, it got to be really hard for them to find targets because they had swept the seas so clean. In 1945, it was a lot harder to find them. The USS Barb was so hungry for targets that they noticed a Japanese train running along the coast. They sent a party ashore, the only U.S. servicemen on the to ever set foot on Japan during hostilities, and they, as they put it, sank a train. They mined the tracks and blew up the train.
Well, for the Pampanito, on the 3rd patrol, just the 3rd patrol during World War II, it sank a huge freighter.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yes. She also rescued she was operating with a Wolfpack with 2 other subs, and the other 2 subs had attacked a Japanese convoy coming out of the Vietnam era, area carrying prisoners of war. They didn't know that at the time. There was supposed to be a signal being flown for transporting prisoners of war. They did not, the Japanese, of course, did not fly that, so the ships the subs all were considered fair game. They sank them. They were carrying Allied prisoners of war that were being taken back to Japan from the Vietnam era, who built the infamous Burma Railway to be used as slave labor in the coal mines. And the Pampanito, the second day after the attack, was cruising on the surface in the area looking for intelligence or debris to give them some type of leg up on the thing. When they saw a raft, these guys and one of the lookouts actually heard the guy calling to them in English. And they started rescuing people. The crew was 76. They picked up 74, I believe. POWs out of the water. They called for assistance. All total, there was 150 POWs were rescued by subs over the next couple of days.
Hey, here is an email question. It says, the torpedoes on the Pampanito, how are they propelled?
They were the Mark 14s, and they were steam, which left a wake, which drew a straight line back to the subs. It wasn't until later in the war that they actually started developing some of the electric fish, which left no wake, so they didn't know where the sub was when it fired them. When I was on board, they had torpedoes at that time that could be wire guided. There was a spool of wire put in it, and connected. The wire was to the torpedo, and the other end of the wire was connected to the fire control system, and you could steer it right, left, up, or down.
Okay.
And so it was much better for an attack.
All right, another call coming in here on Connect with Me. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Let's go ahead and crank that up.
Hi. I just wanted to add something about submarines that I've always found fascinating because I grew up in the pump business, is that they really did, as thanks to submarines, the rotating member between the water and the power, it has a seal. And the seals were developed by submarines. And so, I mean, as far as the drought is concerned, we could thank submarines much for, saving water in a lot of ways.
Right. Okay, Bob, you want to pick up on that?
Yes. A lot of the things on submarines were invented by the people on the boats. Whenever you're in the shipyards, the subs always assigned a crew member to work with the civilian people who were working on the boat because their lives were at risk, and a lot of times the yard people didn't know what they were doing all that well. I remember one time we came out of the yards with a hydraulic overhaul, and they installed a hydraulic operating valve which had positions of either 90, 180, 270, or 0, and they installed it 90 degrees off, so we couldn't open seal our tanks.
Let me ask you one thing before we got to go to break here. October the 10th, 2015 is Fleet Week. You got a group going to San Francisco to visit the Pampanito. What does Fleet Week mean? What is that?
Well, it's a week to honor the Navy, and I understand the day we're to be up there, the Blue Angels will be in town.
Oh.
We've done this once before. Our submarine veterans group will go up. We have people who from our boat will go up there. I trained on a boat as old as the Pampanito. A couple of other people qualified on boats. Jerry Lanigan, our current base commander, and I'm the vice commander. He actually trained, qualified on the Queenfish, which is one of the subs that came to help with the rescue. So we'll be your guides. We'll be your tour people. Last time we did the tour, Donald Johnson and I ended up in the forward torpedo room, and we never got out of there because people kept coming through and asking us questions.
$69 a person. How do they get in touch with you or anyone to purchase tickets or find out about the trip?
They can go to the Wahoo Base website. If they Google it, they'll find it. And we have a whole list of contacts on there, including myself.
Say that website again.
The Wahoo Base.
Wahoo Base.
Yeah, WAHOO Base. Submarine Veterans, Inc., USSVI.
No phone number?
I'm a little leery to get out the guy's phone numbers.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Because I don't know who.
Just go to Wahoo Base. You'll be able to find out ticket information on there. Okay. Bob Houck, thank you very much. We're going to bring on another guest to talk about the sub-vets in just a moment here. You're watching us on Comcast 375, 43.6, 13.1, and 8.1. And by the way, the telephone number is 436-MeTV, option 11. And today's program is sponsored by McGill, Guzman, McGill, the attorney, defense attorney in Fresno. Chuck McGill, been around 25 years. Back in just a moment.
Tune in to Heartland for the best in true country music. Relive vintage specials, one-of-a-kind concerts, and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country. The only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
We need help to find this missing child. Patrick Alford was 8 when he went missing. He was last seen in Brooklyn, New York in January of 2010. This is what we believe he looks like today at age 12. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Please help bring Patrick Alford home.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. We need your help to capture this fugitive. Julio Cesar Guevara Mejia is wanted by the FBI in Sacramento for the attempted murder of a 19-year-old female in November of 2007. Police say he lured the young woman to a hotel room where he shot her 3 times in the chest. He could be in Palm Springs, California or Houston, Texas. Contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI if you have any information.
All right, back here on the program, you can see the phone number up on your screen, 436-ME-TV, option 11, of course, and we're here for the duration until 11 o'clock, and then we've be here for a few more minutes talking about the sub-vets, and then we'll change topics again with a different guest. You'll have to stay tuned for that. So today's program is sponsored by McGill Guzman McGill. Thank you for that. Joining us now is Donald Johnson. He is also a submarine veteran. Now, yes. Donald, where did you serve?
I served 20 years from 1973 until 1993. Most of the boats I served on were out of Pearl Harbor, but I rowed a missile boat out of Scotland and an old nuclear attack boat out of San Diego as well. Mm-hmm. And I also did shore tours teaching schools in San Diego. And my final tour was at the submarine base in Pearl Harbor fixing broken submarines.
Did you ever served in Vietnam? Or?
I just missed Vietnam.
Okay.
I enlisted in July of '73, and then I went through submarine and nuclear reactor plant training. It took almost 2 years. I was home on leave in April of 1975 when we departed Saigon. Uh-huh. So they gave me a medal for serving in the military during a war, but I never made it to Vietnam. A lot of the people that I served with did.
What submarines did you serve on, and what were you doing on those subs?
My primary duties were as an electrician and a nuclear power plant operator and supervisor. Within the nuclear power plant, both the reactor and the steam plant that drove the ship, my primary responsibilities were the electrical generation and distribution systems. And then as I became senior and a supervisor, I was the senior enlisted watchstander in the power plant, supervising.
What submarines?
First boat I served on was USS Sea Dragon, SSN 584. I reported to her in May of '75. I qualified in June of '76. And I served on her until 1979.
I see.
Then I transferred to Charleston, South Carolina, and made 4 ballistic missile patrols on USS James Monroe, SSBN 622. I was on the blue crew. Those were the ones that had 2 crews. They traded off.
Okay.
Then I spent 3 years teaching school in San Diego, and then I went back to Pearl Harbor to the USS Buffalo, SSN 715. She was a brand new Los Angeles class submarine when I got to her.
Wow.
And she's the only boat I served on that's still running.
Interesting, interesting. I want to roll a videotape inside the Pampanito. This thing sits over in San Francisco at Fisherman's Wharf, of course. We're going to go inside, and as mentioned, this ship is open for tours. What are we looking at here? Is this the torpedo room?
Yes, that's one of the torpedo rooms. Kind of looks like the forward torpedo room, and it's cutting around to a cutaway view of one of the torpedoes. And as Bob said earlier, there was also crews berthing in the torpedo rooms, and you can see the bunks up there above the torpedo reloads.
How long are the torpedoes? How much do they weigh? How do they load them inside the tubes? Who loads them?
On the World War II boats, they were loaded by the torpedoman's mates. They had some hydraulic systems, but mostly it was by block and tackle and brute force.
How many people did it take to load one tube?
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
Depending.
To lift the torpedo, get it inside.
Well, there's most of the lifting was done with chain falls.
Okay.
On the old boats.
And who would pull the trigger as to who would fire the torpedo? Whose job was that?
Oh, on the newer boats, they're actually fired from the fire control center up in the control room.
How about the old one?
But I think on the old one, well, they could be fired from the torpedo room as well as from the control room. But
are they done? They're done manually, are they? Or is it tied to a computer system somehow?
Well, on the old boats, it wasn't really a computer system. It was primarily electromechanical.
I see.
You'd hit the button and solenoids would operate and air valves would cycle and or in some cases the torpedo would start up in the tube and swim out under its own power.
Yeah, amazing. Hey, let's roll the last piece of videotape inside the Pampanito. And I want to ask you why this group was formed. I of course asked Bob Haupt that question. The Sub-Vets group, 60 years old now. Purpose is what? To never forget these sub-vets who lost their lives at sea?
To continue the memories of our submarine vets who are on eternal patrol, the ones who didn't come back.
This is a little known group. And as I said in the monologue, little fanfare around the country. Most people, when you think of World War II veterans or Vietnam veterans, they don't think of the sub-vets. It's almost like a secondary group. Am I correct?
Well, part of that is by design.
Why?
Well, submarines operate out of view.
Understood.
We operate underwater. Much of what we do is not publicly acknowledged, and in fact, many of the things that we did, that submarines did and still do after World War II, are classified.
So that's why there's such little fanfare in regards to sub-vets and maybe even these submarines, and they're not out in the public eye like the U.S. warships.
Well, our modern submarines are more visible now than they used to be, but still.
They're kind of under the radar, so to speak,
yes.
or underwater, so to speak. So people, they're out of view. They're out of public view.
Yes, and that's, to a certain extent, that's the way we want it.
So you want it to stay that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, a submarine's current submarines, Bob was talking about the World War II diesel boats and the Cold War and Vietnam era diesel boats that he served on. They had to come up to periscope depth or surface to run their diesel engines to charge batteries.
Amazing.
The nuclear submarines don't.
Yeah, they don't have to do that. Right.
Yeah, with that nuclear reactor, we can. Our underwater time is limited primarily by the food supply and the quality of the air.
Yeah. We're out of time here. Hey, let's put up that. Can we put up that plaque that I ran in the monologue. You know that plaque that shows all 52 of those subs that went down? There it is right there.
Yeah.
Is that an amazing plaque or what? It's got all 52 names on it. Where is this on display?
That one I believe.
Trying to find out online last night where this is displayed,
there are a number of them. I know there's one like that on the pier next to the Pomponido.
There is. Okay.
And there is also a plaque like that at the entrance to the Fresno VA Medical Center.
Amazing.
That the submarine veterans of World War II installed there years ago.
Hey, pretty cool stuff. Hey, Donald Johnson, thank you for your time and thank you for your service in the military. I appreciate it very much. And we're going to continue with our program here. The second part is coming up with another guest, a different topic. 436-ME-TV, option 11. And by the way, today's program is sponsored by McGill Guzman McGill. Thank you so much, Donald.
The new Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance.
Enjoy generous-sized cooktops and sauté or simmer with ease, while true convection ovens offer even baking and juicy roasting perfection. Foods stay their freshest in spacious refrigerators with convenient controls and clear filtered ice and water. Easy to clean surfaces reduce fingerprints, and the quietest of dishwashers makes cleanup a snap. The new Frigidaire Professional line at Ventura TV Video Appliance.
We need help to find this missing child. Patrick Alford was 8 when he went missing. He was last seen in Brooklyn, New York in January of 2010. This is what we believe he looks like today at age 12. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Please help bring Patrick Alford home.
Hello, I'm John Walsh. We need your help to capture this fugitive. Julio Cesar Guevara Mejia is wanted by the FBI in Sacramento for the attempted murder of a 19-year-old female in November of 2007. Police say he lured the young woman to a hotel room where he shot her 3 times in the chest. He could be in Palm Springs, California or Houston, Texas. Contact the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI if you have any information.
We need help to find this missing child. Delano Wilson was 1 month old when he went missing. He was last seen in Indianapolis, Indiana, August 27th of 2014. If you have any information, please call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. That's 1-800-843-5678. Please help bring Delano Wilson home.
Back here on the program, sponsored by McGill Guzman McGill. Time to talk about Off the Dribble Basketball Academy with Blanton Simmons. Once again, he is here. We're changing topics a little bit from submarines to basketball. A little bit of a change of pace here, but that's okay. How are you, Blanton? Good to see you.
Doing really well, John. Good to see you as well,
hey,
always.
Oh, thank you very much. So what's new about your basketball academy? You've been on here several times before talking about the basketball academy, what you're doing to help young kids, what you're doing to try to help them in terms of not only from the athletic standpoint, but trying to help them with their grades in school.
Well, we had a real successful summer. We mentored a number of youngsters down at Frank H. Ball Community Center near Edison High School, and we have some real success stories, youngsters who are getting some tutoring, learning some basketball skills, and just learning how to be good citizens and to really try and do their best at everything that they do. That's what we dwell on.
Yeah. What's new at the academy?
Well, we have a number of youngsters who go to Edison High, like I said, and they are coming down on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 6 p.m. to about 8 p.m. and we are teaching them basketball skills. And like I said, we're really giving them the opportunity to let us know what's going on in their lives, to try to make a difference and to try and get them the help they need so that they can better themselves.
How do you take a kid, and let's put up one of the photos here, how do you take a kid who is not interested in let's say, getting good grades in school, maybe is getting some failing grades, and really wants to focus on sports, on basketball, how do you deal with a child like that? What do you tell them? I mean, you can't force somebody to go to class, to do their homework, to get the grades they're supposed to get. How do you deal with a child like this? And by the way, before you answer that question, what group of kids are we looking at here?
Those are 12 to 15-year-old youngsters that are involved in the program. And a lot of them have shown just a great deal of progress, but we use a lot of peer pressure, and we talk about grades all the time.
Do you pressure them into good grades?
Peer pressure in terms of letting them know that we're going to talk about it on a consistent basis, that it's part of what you have to do to be part of the program, and that if they want to attain their goals, that this is the only route. You aren't going to be playing basketball in college if you can't get into college, and most of them want to do that. Even to play at the high school level, you have to maintain your grades, and to be a good citizen, it's a privilege to be able to play. It's not a right, and coaches tend to choose youngsters who are going to represent the program the best, not only win games, but to be good citizens in the school. It's a real privilege to get an opportunity to be able to play.
But how do you convince a child who doesn't really want to do the homework, doesn't want to study, and just wants to go out there and dribble the basketball? Well, how do you get through to that kid? Because that's a tough nut to crack.
The biggest thing is we don't let them do it. If they aren't willing to do the schoolwork, we let them know that, again, this is an opportunity that we're providing, but the caveat is that they have to do what they're told and have to do what's happening in school.
Are there? Do you talk to them about consequences?
All the time, and
because there's consequences to everything that relate to not only children but adults. Everybody has consequences if we don't do the right thing. We all know that.
It goes without question. You have to do what you need to do in order to be successful. Otherwise, you're going to suffer the consequences, and you're going to make your life a lot harder than it would be if you would just than it would be if you were not to follow the rules and to try and stay on the straight and narrow. We try to get all of them to do that, and we've been real successful. They want to be part of what we're doing. We have made it attractive enough by providing them with jerseys and counseling and tutoring when we can, and we are always looking for support to help us be able to provide those things.
Here's the thing, Blanton, and you know, I can't emphasize this next point enough. If you don't do the right thing in school now and you don't get good grades now, it's difficult once you reach a certain age, like say 21, 22, 23, and then have to go back and revisit those same classes, those same grades to try to get your high school graduation and then enter a certain college. It's very difficult to do that once you get into your 20s. It's hard to go back in time and revisit that to try to make and correct a wrong.
They have to take responsibility for themselves. They need to understand that it's better to do it with continuity, to start and finish something.
And do it now rather than have to go back.
It's just going to be more difficult and less likely that you'll actually even try to do it once you get away from it. There's a pattern and a flow that involves education, and if you stay with it consistently, you get better at it, just like anything else.
Yeah.
If you do it all the time.
That's exactly right.
If you do your homework, you get smarter. It becomes easier. So the idea
it's like routine. It's like breathing.
The idea is to do it on a consistent basis, and it becomes routine, as you said.
Because I know people, and I got to take a break here. I know people that, you know, are sorry they didn't finish college, for example. I'm just using that as one example, and yet they try to go back like maybe in their 40s, late 40s, early 50s. It's really hard. Now you're sitting in class with 20-year-olds.
Absolutely. Personal accountability and responsibility is the key, making sure that we know that we're responsible for ourselves. You're going to get help when you request it, but you really have to be responsible for your own success.
Yeah, you can't do the work for them. They got to do it themselves. You're there to help, but you know, it's like, you know, we've heard this saying before: those who help themselves are better off than those who don't. I've heard this many times over. My parents used to tell me that all the time. 436-MeTV, option 11, and I still didn't listen. Anyway, McGill Guzman McGill is our sponsor today. I'm trying to help myself. I'm working at it. Okay, Blanton, I'm working. Give me credit for that. Back in just a moment.
Thanks, Rob.
One-of-a-kind concerts and country music's earliest videos. Heartland is the heart of country. The only place where you can find country music, country stars, and country lifestyles 24/7. Heartland, the heart of country.
Now on channel 13.2.
Have you or a loved one recently been arrested for a serious crime?
Is your professional reputation at risk?
Aggressive representation from a qualified defense attorney can help you avoid conviction and keep your reputation untarnished.
Hi, I'm Charles McGill, and I'll fight for your rights. With extensive experience in successfully defending against a wide range of criminal offenses and high-profile cases, you can rest assured that you'll get the fair trial you deserve from McGill Guzman McGill. Call us at 559-255-3425 or visit us online at toplawyersfresno.com.
Back here on the program with our friend Blanton Simmons. It's Off the Dribble Basketball Academy. And what nights again? Wednesday?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday from
Monday,
6
Wednesday.
p.m. till close to 8 when they close the gym up.
And the gym is located?
At Frank H. Ball at the corner of Inyo and Mayor.
All right, another full screen. Let's put that picture up and talk a little bit about what we're looking at, Blanton, because you've been working with kids for a long time, many years. What group are we looking at here? Looks like an older.
These are some of the older
group.
kids. One of the, a couple of the people in this picture actually played junior college ball at Reedley. And a number of them, they're mixed in with some of the kids who are 15, 16 years old.
Wow.
And that night we were scrimmaging and having a lot of fun and trying to impact the lives of some of the kids who are actually in junior college already, who want to go on to college and play at Fresno State or some of the other major schools around this area.
Yeah, it's amazing. How many kids in that picture there? My
Looks like
goodness.
about
Looks
12.
like about 12 kids in there, and they're up to 15 years old, right?
No, 15. Actually, some of those are as old as 19, 15 to 19.
Yeah, that one kid on the far left, is that a kid or an adult?
It's a
I
big
can't tell.
kid. His
That's
name
a
is
big-
Nehru Henderson. He's a big, strong, 6'6", 240-pound guard.
I need him for a bodyguard.
Yeah, I do too. I use him for that.
Yeah. Hey, next photo, and we'll go to that and see what we're going to talk about here. And that's you with who?
My number one protege, Javion Jones, who went to Fresno High, class of 2014, and he played at junior college ball last year down in San Diego. He is also transferring to Reedley. Big-time player.
Wow, he looks like a great kid, and looks like he's kind of a self-motivator there, just by the look on his face, and he's happy to be with you. That's a good thing.
Makes me feel good as well. He's a strong kid, and he's going to be very successful.
If people want to get a hold of Blanton Simmons, how do they do that? Is there an email, a website, a phone number?
BlantonSimmons@gmail.com. The website is Off the Dribble Basketball Academy. I know it's a long URL, but Off the Dribble Basketball Academy.com.
Even I can remember that
And
at my age.
My phone number is area code 559-392-7439. You can go to the website Off the Dribble Basketball Academy and make tax-deductible donations through our 501c3.
That's right, a
And,
nonprofit.
Yes, and we are always looking for help, assistance with a number of things that we do for the kids, but tutoring is the main thing that we're trying to get financial aid for, and we need donors to help us help some of the kids get the tutoring that they need.
Quickly, we got 30 seconds left. Why are you doing this?
I think that a life isn't really well lived unless you can leave something behind. The best thing I think you can leave is helping others find their way, because it lasts a lot longer than we will. You'll have people that are follow behind you, and hopefully they'll learn the same lesson to help those who are following behind them. We have to bring up the next generation of kids as we get older, so that we have people who are taking care of life.
Got to roll out of here, get in the queue to get out. Blanton, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's always
Good
a
to
pleasure.
see you. Thank you. Good luck with the Academy. Anytime we can help out, let us know. Blanton Simmons, it's Off the Dribble Basketball Academy. Tomorrow, Dan Payne, talk about the 14th anniversary of 9/11. You believe it's been 14 years since the Twin Towers came down. We'll talk about it and talk about the latest terror threat. It includes drones. See you tomorrow. Have a good day.